Good morning. How are you today? This is one of those days, wonderful days, with the wind coming through the trees and the temperature in the high 60s. And it's not going to go very high today. I almost feel guilty that the weather's so pleasant here and so bad in some other places. Over the weekend, we had the Republican minority leader find a way to insult and to put at dis-ease the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. An over-energetic crowd was feeding Mr. McCarthy as the minority leader in the House, and they gave him a large gavel. And he said with this gavel, it'd be hard for him not to hit Pelosi. And there was great laughter and so forth. The problem with statements like that is that it's kind of wake-a-day dreaming. That is, you say things when you're awake that reflect your true sense of feeling. In this case, an inclination of violence. Because of all the ways that you could talk about an opponent, given the insurrection and what it was hoped the insurrection would accomplish in terms of kidnapping Pelosi, at the very least, anything approximating what he said would be insensitive. Given the fact that he consulted with Trump on that day, and now is talking expressly about a violent act, should he, after the midterms, take over as Speaker of the House, that's unacceptable. It's enough that nobody has thought to say, we're going to subpoena you and we're going to ask you all the questions we need to ask you. But then on top of it, he does this, and now everybody's going to jump up and down and say, it's terrible and shameful. Do something about it. Censure the man. Try to cast him out of the body. He's unworthy to be a member of Congress, given his role in the attack on the institution of the House and of the government. But I'm not sure that that's what they'll do. Right now, everybody's heated up. And maybe for some in government, it gets to a point where the story is enough. The story is not enough. Yesterday, myself and my friend from Massachusetts, John McLaughlin, we spoke about doing the right thing. That is, making people reckon with their misconduct. That's McCarthy. McCarthy, if he was serious about the investigation, would never for a moment have thought to choose No Jacket Jordan to join the Special Committee on Insurrection in the House. He knows who he is. He knows the guy is a troublemaker. He knows he's a guy who tries to steal the air from deliberate discussion, lest people be informed what the true facts are. So McCarthy should resign, not just as leader, but he should leave the House. But these people will not do that. And that's why one of the things that we talked about in our podcast yesterday was the accounting for misconduct and conducting real investigations. Now, let's take a very obvious example. We had Trump, in the days after he lost the election, leaning on Attorney General Rosen with other people on the phone to declare there was corruption in the election. They didn't do it, but he requested it. And they said, and don't worry about what I will do with it afterwards. That tells us a number of things. One is that he wanted to steal the election himself because he lost it. Another is he was recruiting improperly members of the Justice Department to lie to the American public there'd been fraud when there had been no fraud, which is similar to what he tried to do in Georgia and what he did through his various lawyers and various courts across the country without any evidence to back up his fraud claim. All of this, I suggest, was the path that he was following to the January 6th insurrection. That was the last day in which he could overturn the government and become president again in a coup, illegally, in violation of our Constitution and laws, to put in place an autocracy, a monarchy, instead of the democratic vote that chose Biden instead. So what are we talking about? Well, here's a two-prong. One is those people at that meeting on the phone about the question of spreading falsity among the people, they should all be subpoenaed to the Hill. That is a very obvious thing. Now, investigations follow a plan, but sometimes there's an opportunity, a disclosure like this one, that you should follow up on, and follow up on immediately before people can get their act together. That is, figuring out ways to diminish it and to work around it. So right now there should be a subpoena for everybody involved in that meeting, including the president. And we can start with depositions. We can do all sorts of things. Now, those who say, oh, I don't know if we can do that. Oh, the vapors, the southern vapors. Well, the other answer is, why in the world, since we got a new attorney general, is there not a grand jury looking into the greatest crime, perhaps in our lifetimes, in which there has been an effort to overthrow our government with a riot? Why isn't that more important than jaywalking or drug cases or any number of crimes that the Justice Department chases after, instead of this principal one that goes to the very core of who we are as a nation? So we should be subpoenaing those people in that meeting. Shouldn't be just talking about it endlessly. And I'm not blaming the media. I'm blaming our government for failing to act. Either the House to subpoena this information, or to establish a grand jury to do what it can be doing more appropriately and with greater oomph than anything the Hill can do. And in the bargain, we should be calling McCarthy and No Jacket Jordan to those two places as well. To the Hill for the special committee, select committee rather, on insurrection, and to the grand jury that should have been summoned long ago into place to investigate this large crime. Oh yes, the rioters are terrible, and not one of them should be let go. Every one of them should be prosecuted. They should have a scarlet letter, traitor, on their forehead the rest of their lives. But so should all the other people who are responsible. The members of Congress, the people in the White House, the intelligence community that delayed the resistance to the insurrection, all of the above. And we're not doing that, and we do this at great risk to ourselves. So that's what I'm thinking this happy Monday. Hope you're well. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.